All right, the El Chapo trial is in recess for Thanksgiving, but both the defense and the prosecution left the jury with a lot to think about over the break. The defense finished its cross-examination of the prosecution's star witness, Jesus Zambada. In his testimony, the former cartel accountant said he personally delivered bribes to Mexico's former federal security chief.
He also testified that he bribed an administrator for current president-elect Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador when Obrador was the mayor of Mexico City, if you can follow that. That administrator is calling the testimony defamatory. So if you couldn't follow that, that's okay, because joining us now is CBS News legal analyst Rikki Klieman to break it all down, because you got to keep track of this story as it sort of moves forward. So we have Jesus Zambada being cross-examined, star witness. What's the biggest takeaway from the former accountant to this drug cartel? Alleged.
Well, I
guess he's not alleged, because he's saying, I was the accountant.
I was the accountant. Yeah. I worked from the late 90s till I was arrested in 2008, and I was also the logistical guy. Now, being the logistical guy and the accountant means that you know where the money goes and why. And when we're dealing with logistics, the drugs, when you're getting to the level of cocaine, the drugs come in from Colombia, then the drugs have to be distributed by planes and by boats and by trucks. And so how do they go and how do they get to the U.S.? But really the big payoff, no pun intended, in this case was what happened yesterday, and it's a payoff for both sides. This witness, Jesus Zambada, who is the brother of one of the two people who runs this cartel, the Sinaloan cartel, he's the brother of El Mayo. So it is one thing to say, I paid millions of dollars in bribes all the way up the security chain, and now, of course, looking at Mr. Luna, as well as dealing with the idea that someone may have been a worker for the now to be president of Mexico. It's that the government was in on all of this. Well, who does that help? It helps the prosecution because it shows the extraordinary flow of money. You had to pay for protection, but it helps the defense because the defense has said, wait a minute. For so much of this time, El Chapo was in prison or on the run. So who was running the cartel but the brother of Jesus Zambada? And it's El Mayo, that brother, who was the man in charge, and that El Chapo is simply the scapegoat. So both theories of the case get brought out in the case of Zambada. There's an interesting thought that I've had as a lawyer looking at the testimony, both from yesterday and looking at it from earlier in this trial, that in an odd way, the defense is really trying to say, and it will say it over 4 months without saying it, this is a case for jury nullification. Look, the cartel is still going on. Getting El Chapo in here, cutting off the head of the dragon, that in that situation made no difference. The cartel is busy. It's making money. It's still involved in corruption and bringing drugs into the United States of America, and it's run by the star witness's brother. So why am I here? Why am I being prosecuted? It's subtle, but it may have some value.
What can we expect next week after the holiday break?
Well, what happened at the end of yesterday, and I think will continue into next week, is we leave the world of Jesus Zambada. We have now entered the world of the drug enforcement agents, and they tell some mighty stories about where money was hidden, as in the panels of cars, and how drugs were hidden, such in the cans of jalapeno peppers.
Hot. Rikki, thank you.